Alrighty, today is Saturday. It is 9:49 a.m. It's January 17th. A few days past the halfway point of January into year 2026. I revisited this day 5 years prior, and I'm here on my 6th year. And I'm gonna review what I did. So I essentially made about $22.95 yesterday. But on Thursday, I lost 99 bucks, which is 1%. And I see why I did that. Okay, I was actually up 0.3%, but I dozed off. And then as soon as I got out of the doze, even though my mind was not fresh, I saw a big green candle, jumped in, which caused a cascade of uh, uh, tilt to occur, right? Common thing. It happens. I accept it. It does happen. So I started out the day with making a small conservative trade on a few, and I was up just a few bucks. At this point, with a 10K account, just a few bucks is an incredibly welcome gain. Because if I have 100K, this this $5 gain will turn into a $50 gain, 50 bucks. I can have essentially like 4 buffets with that, right? Or I could save that up, and that's for a single day, right? In this case, just 3 trades. And then I got into a few bad trades to start out with. And again, on this day, Friday, I entered with some size in here, and I quickly got out, which was not advisable, because I attempted to quickly size up in order to make the day interesting and quickly make the gain and make it an easier day for me. But that's 19, that's 20, that's like 35, approximately about a $35 loss right there, which is almost a 0.5%. Then I finally woke up and I started to put things together and pick my spots and make better trades. And so I quickly recovered, and then I got into what I thought was a support area and started to scale in, but it's quickly moved against me, so I had to exit. And then I did a bit of a revenge trade here, which is always not good. And so it was a it was a risky and a very dangerous kind of a situation. It meant that even though I made 68 bucks, it means that I had to overcome this $20 commission plus the gap. So it must have been like at least $100. It must have been $100 gain in order to compensate for that. And then riding on that high of that gain, I quickly made another at the same time made a trade, and that was a loser because I high ticked it. Okay, so on this, I realized what my mistake was. Okay, so what are the mistakes? Here's looks like on this particular situation, my thesis was obviously incorrect. All right, it may or may not be correct because I had to get out there because the drawdown. I didn't like that drawdown, so I exited quickly because that one lot is a pretty big deal. If I look at the EU, it was essentially trading around like here. It was trading around like that. So the move was most likely just to get out of trade because I didn't want the drawdown to be that significant. Then I proceeded to come back to recover those losses. And then here, I scaled in on UJ. I scaled on UJ, and and probably, and I thought I was probably here somewhere, I think if I look at the timestamp, which is 7:35, yeah, it's right here. 7:35 is right there. So I thought here it was going to go back up, but it started to dip, and so I had to exit the trade. So I traded here, I was scaling in here, and I had to get out here, right? So if I look at the timestamp of the time that I got out of that trade is 7:44. So approximately about a 10-minute hold. And as soon as so that's about a 10-minute hold, 7:44, right? Right here. Yeah, I think it must have been right here. So I actually entered at a point where it was actually a pullback. Yeah. And then it started to go down. That would have been a bigger loss if I hadn't gotten out. So I got out of that. So that was essentially the wrong thesis, and so that's why I lost. On this one, I did a high tick. Okay, I know I did a high tick. I top ticked it. I top ticked it right here. I know it. So if I look here, it's 7:45. Or 7:45. Okay, so it's 7:45, 8:05. Okay, 7:45, right here. So essentially, if I look at here, $7.45. Yep, right here. It makes sense. Right there. I high ticked it. I thought it was a breakout, but I was wrong. And I can see it from hindsight. I was wrong. My conclusion was wrong. I was looking at the candle instead of looking at the levels. So I was wrong in that one. That's why I lost that. I high ticked it. As soon as it just moved. But if I held it a little longer, I sold here, but it came back. So that's my mistake. My entry was wrong on that one. My conclusion was wrong. On a day like that, especially when the market is painting sideways like this all day, like 11 hours of it, it's just going to continue. It's not going to break out. It did break out here, but that I high ticked. I was premature by 1, 2, 3, 4, about five little range bound trades. So I could have made a, okay, on the UJ, that's the same thing again. UJ. So if I look at UJ, now on the UJ, I got in at 823, 823, 823. Yeah, I was trading around this area right there, 823. Yeah, right there. So essentially I was going long here, and then I got stopped out right here. I had to exit the trade because it was moving against me. So that was a wrong trade. So I got some back with EU. I got in with EU. So if I look here, EU is 859. Yeah, I must have caught that right here. Made about 20 bucks on it. That little drop right there. 826, 826 right there. 8. 859, 859, and then 906. Oh yeah, I caught that right there. I caught this. I entered here, and then I caught that going up. I entered here. That was premature. I could have waited here. So I could have waited a little bit. So essentially what I was doing is I'm trading these areas right there, all these, thinking that it's going to be range bound for a while, and I took that trade, which turned out to be okay. And then I got into some serious situation with 3 different trades at the open. Yep. And I made a trade with the NASDAQ and the Dow and the UJ. And that UJ trade was a definite mistake. I made several mistakes. So it's at about 1409. 1409. 1409. This must have been like a pre-market. 1409. 1409. Yeah. Right here. I got in expecting it to go higher. Right here, 1409. So if I look at it, 1409 is going to be right here. Yeah, right there. I was in the mud right there. And quickly the candle, I thought it was going to keep going up. This is what I get for trading the candles. So I'm essentially like 3 to 4 losses per 3 to 4 trades whenever I'm looking for candles trades. I need to be entering at a level where it's a level, not the candle. I was trading the candle right there. That's my mistake. And I got in. That's 2 mistakes. Okay. I made a mistake here. Time span of so it's essentially a back-to-back problem. I got wicked, thinking that it was going to go up, wicked, lost it, and then a little bit later I did the same thing. So those are the 2 mistakes. Which essentially that's $50. That's 0.5%. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I lost 0.5%. Now, if I look at the Dow, I'm looking at the Dow here, and Dow right there. I quickly got out of it. So if I look at a 1442, now that's 1442 is going to be right there, right there. So this is essentially this is actually market open right there. And I was going long and I lost. It was moving against me. I quickly sold. Now, same thing was the NASDAQ. 1443 would be right here. I thought that pullback, I thought this was a trend reversal, but it turned out to be a pullback. I got suckered into that. So that trade was premature right there. So, and I knew better. I knew better because the way that when it's trending, there's a lot of pullbacks, and I can get mired in that situation. Then I made a trade here at 1445. So if I look here, so that would be 1445 right there. And I caught that. I caught this candle going up. So I was able to make that recovery. And then the rest of them are just trading the range with UJ and with UJ and EG. Okay, because they were tending to favor. They're tending to favor the support area here. So for EG, I realized that this was support, and I traded accordingly. Same with, if I look at UJ, same with the UJ as well. See, it was trading around the support area. So if so let's take a look at the time period here. It's 1621. Yeah, it's in this area, 1621. I went to lunch here. I missed out on this move. But 1621. Currently outside is 31 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 1 degree freezing, below freezing. So 1629 and 1643. Yeah. 1643 is right there. No. Okay, so I need to be looking at UJ. So 1621, 1633. 33 is right near where, right there. 1633. 1633 is right here. 1633. 1633 is right here. 1633 is right there. That's where I got. Right before it hit that resistance, I got out of there. So I was trading the level instead of the candles, and it worked out okay. I have to remind myself. See, then what I thought about, what I saw is this. Okay, what I saw is this. So if I were to add all these, that's 30, that's 50, that's $80, right? $80. That's 80. 90 right there for that loss. 130 for that loss. And about 20 bucks for that. About 25 for that, right? And then here, that's about $35. Okay, so that's 35, 25, which is 60, 40, that's 100, that's 110, and then that would be 30, 60, 80. Okay, 130 plus 80 that's 210. So essentially what I did was I recovered 210 bucks and then added $23 to that. So essentially that was like a 2.5% gains in order to compensate for 2.1% of loss. Now, if I can make those corrections, I could have been at 3% on a Friday. I could have been at 3% on a Friday. Okay, so I'm seeing where I need to see. So what I conclude from this is that so what I'm seeing is that the number one thing with me is the green candle. The trading mistake is the green candle. That's it. That's the number one thing. Okay. The others I can fix later, but I need to fix that one part. Okay. Mistake. The number one mistake right now for this, it could be something else that could pop up, but what I'm doing right now, and the number one mistake is I'm entering on a green candle. Okay, that's my number one problem. It could have easily been like a 3% day yesterday. It could have been. It may not be that easy, but it could have been 3% on a Friday, had it not for those mistakes.